Welcome to the Sexual Wellness Podcast, real life conversations with industry experts on modern sexuality and how to live a happy, healthy, turned on life. I'm your host, Laura Allen, founder of New Zealand's leading sexual wellness store and holistic sex, love, and life coach, passionately guiding women to expand their pleasure in and outside the bedroom. Welcome back to the Sexual Wellness Podcast. Hey. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. There's so much going on at the moment. I'm getting all ready for Splore that's about to happen this weekend, which is, for those of you who are not in New Zealand, Splore is a beautiful festival that goes for 3 days in Auckland. And I'm presenting at it, which is actually a really big deal, and it's quite a milestone in my career. So I'm super happy to be bringing my How to Live Your Best Sex Life presentation to all of the Splorers out there. So if you're going, then definitely come and check it out. It's at 1:30 p.m. in Wendy's Wellness Zone. I'd love to chat and meet you as well. Don't be afraid to come up and say hi afterwards. So yeah, that's happening. I'm also collaborating with Richie Hardcore at the next No Bears Who Cares event, talking about like the taboo around sex and porn addiction. Well, that's the piece that Richie will be bringing, and I'll be talking again about how to live your best sex life. And, just like plenty more exciting things in the sea. I'm about to start Queendom, but there's still a couple of spots left. So if you've got a burning desire within you to join this epic crew of women, oh my god, I'm so excited. Just like everyone started introducing themselves in the Facebook group and like putting up their pictures, and I'm just like, oh, it's going to be so good. I think out of all the things that I love about Queendom, I mean, like the content is great and all that kind of stuff, but oh man, just like the group of women that come together in this course are always so amazing, and just the sisterhood and the vibes, and yeah, everyone in the first Queendom group is still in contact, and it's so beautiful. And yeah, it's something that I'm really, really proud of. So if you feel like you want a bit of that, then you reach out to me and let me know, and we will figure something out for you. Okay, so let's get started. This episode it feels like a big episode. It feels really big in my heart. And I'll tell you why. It's because I have started baby prepping, which is like amazing, and I'm so excited. And now what I mean by baby prepping is I'm not trying for a baby yet. I don't actually have any attachment as to when I'm going to have my babies. I don't have an attachment to it like that. I already know and trust that I'm going to have a beautiful family, and I actually don't need to force or push it or, try and make it come any quicker, because I can just pretty much leave that up to the universe, because I know that it's going to come when the time is right. But in the meantime, I have decided to focus all of my energy into learning about conscious parenting and preparing my body to like have a really beautiful, spacious pregnancy. Like, I don't want to all of a sudden wake up one day and go, oh my God, I'm pregnant. I've got 9 months to figure all this stuff out. Like, I want to make sure that I can really, truly enjoy this time in my life, because it is so special. It's so special. Being pregnant is so freaking special, and I want to be able to enjoy every last second of it in a really mindful and really intentional way, where of course like nourishment and love and joy are kind of at the forefront of the entire experience. So that's something that I'm now into. And if you've been following my Instagram, then you've probably figured that out, because every second picture is a picture of a like hot mama. So yeah, it's my latest obsession, guys. Get on board. But what this has actually brought up for me as well is a lot of really deep reflection to those times in my life where I wasn't ready, and where I made the decision in my life to let go of the pregnancy. And, these were like really, really big times in my life. And if I'm to be completely honest with you, I am nothing but utterly proud of myself, how I handled the situation that I was in at the time, and how I moved through this process of letting go of something so hard to let go of with such ease and grace. So I'm going to share with you a guide on loving, shame-free letting go of a pregnancy. Now, just a little disclaimer. So, look, I'm not a midwife. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doula. I am not a pregnancy specialist. I'm not even a trauma specialist. So I really just want to make this super clear that this is my perspective, and it's based off my direct experience as well as the experiences of my peers as well as my clients. So yeah, just be objective and take what resonates for you. And some of this might feel really out there because, of course, I did everything with so much intentionality and a lot of spirituality in there as well. I integrated a lot of ritual and ceremony and various practices to kind of really support me in my process. And, some of it will work for you and some of it won't. So yeah, that's just an invitation to know that this is not the only way. This is just my way, and I'm really, really excited to share it with you. So yeah, so let's get started. I think the first point that I want to talk about is there is absolutely nothing wrong with deciding to let go of your pregnancy. That's the first thing. Because depending on who you are, depending on your upbringing, depending on, your family, your religion, your peers and everything, there can be a lot of dialogue internally and externally that gives you the message that having a termination is wrong, having an abortion is wrong. When the thing is, on average, 1 in 3 women have experienced this. Now, that number varies all around the world, but on average, 1 in 3 women have had an abortion at some point in their lives. That's a lot. That's a lot of women, you guys, and it's something that we just don't talk about. It is still so under the covers, under the carpet. There's so much shame around it. There's so much secrecy around it, when you know what, it doesn't necessarily have to be that way, because there is absolutely nothing wrong with taking charge of your future and making the right decision for you and for your baby and for your family and for your community. Sometimes the most integral and loving thing that you can do is actually let go. So I just want to, if you're in a place right now where you're still deciding, or if you're in a place where you have decided but you are still holding on to so much guilt and shame and I guess, a lot of self-criticism, even external criticism, I want you to know that I see and acknowledge the courage in you to do this, because it is not easy. And, by making a decision like this, what you're really doing is you're saying yes to yourself, and you're saying yes to a future that is actually going to be in alignment for you. And, that is what we need in this world, is more people actually standing up for what they know in their heart and in their soul is right for them at that time. So I just want to say that you're courageous, you're brave, you're beautiful, and it is totally okay. So the next point I wanted to talk to you about is, it's really important. Basically I'm going to go through kind of pre-termination to termination to post-termination, just so that you've got an idea of the running order of information. So I would say the first thing would be to, release shame and guilt. And then the next point is to really tune into what is actually true for you. Because again, there can be so much external noise around what you should be doing. Perhaps you are coming from a religious family where there's so much support, and you'll have everything you need, and so on and so forth. Or you've got a partner who really, really wants to have the pregnancy, and there's so many variables, but it's super important that you take the time and take the space that you need to tune into what is right for you. And what is right for you will also incorporate, the heartfelt needs and wants of your family, your partner, and your community. You're not gonna make the wrong decision, but the decision that you want to be making is a decision that is yours and not a decision of somebody else. So really take the time. You can get the process moving regardless of which way you're going to go. You can go to the doctor. You can, start talking to midwives. You can get all of the information that you need, whether you're going to go which way or that way. You can really start to get the ball rolling and keeping your eyes and your feelings open to, all of the possibilities that could be coming at you. And I think the more that you explore, the more that you will really start to feel which path is actually going to be right for you. So yeah, just to reiterate that one more time, you guys, just in case you didn't get it before, make sure that you are tuning into you and making the decision for yourself, because inevitably it is your call and you can really honor that. So the next point is, regardless of the outcome, treat this sparkle of a soul with complete love and compassion. Okay, so I'm just going to repeat that. Regardless of the outcome, so regardless of what you choose to do, treat this sparkle of a soul with love and compassion. So even if you're not going to go through with the pregnancy, you can still have complete love and acknowledgement and care for, let's call it like soul sparkle, for this soul sparkle that you are currently engaging with, that is currently with you. Just because you've decided that, you're not going to go through with the pregnancy doesn't mean that you go to the liquor shop and get a bottle of vodka and put all of your self-care down the drain and just go, fuck it. I don't actually need to treat my body with any kind of respect right now, and I don't need to treat this soul sparkle with any respect because I'm getting a termination. I want to really encourage you to do the complete opposite of that. So when I was pregnant, I completely, would stop drinking, and I would actually go into mother mode, to be honest, even though I knew I wasn't going to go through with it. I still loved my soul sparkle with all of my heart. I really did not hold back in any way, shape, or form. I was fully there. I was fully present. And just because I did that didn't mean that it was harder or worse or more painful to say goodbye. Actually, what it meant is that I know that I've gone through this process with absolute integrity, because I've been doing it from a complete place of love within myself and for my soul sparkle. So yeah, that's something that I would really, really invite you to do. So the next point is, actually it's more of a bit of a side note. So I want you to know that when you're pregnant and you're going to get a termination, that doesn't change the fact that you are pregnant. You are physically pregnant. Okay, so we're talking about all the emotional stuff, the spiritual stuff, blah, 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 but you are actually physically pregnant. So give yourself a freaking break. Your hormones are going to be going crazy. Your body is going to be changing. It's going to affect your mental health and the way that you feel about things. Don't underestimate that, and give yourself the time and space to actually nurture and nourish your body in the way that it needs during this time. What you need when you're pregnant is different to what you need in everyday life. So I would encourage you to do some reading and just figure out how you can best support your body during this phase, because you need it on a physiological level. And it's particularly important when it comes to recovery as well. Look after yourself, because again, regardless of the outcome, you're still pregnant right now, and that's a big deal physiologically. So please, I urge you to take extra special care. Get all of the rest. Do all of the things that you need to feel vital and alive and rested, I guess. Yeah, well rested, I would say. Okay. The next thing that the next kind of process that I want to offer you as something really beautiful that you can do. Now, if you are currently pregnant and wondering what to do, this could be a really beautiful process to you. But if you've already had a termination, it doesn't matter if it was last week, last month, last year, or last decade, this process will still be deeply impactful for you. If you're listening to this podcast episode and if you're feeling really triggered and you've actually already had a termination a long time ago, but you're still feeling very sensitive towards this topic, that's a really clear sign that actually you're still carrying a lot of, I'm going to say trauma. I think trauma is kind of a word that can be really blown. It can be taken to quite an extreme way, but I mean, there's even soft trauma from things like this, from, terminations and emotional trauma and all of that kind of stuff. So if you are feeling sensitive, then that's a sign that there's still some processing and some letting go to be done. And this particular practice can be really helpful. Now, you can do it by yourself. You can also get someone to guide it for you, someone who does somatic body work. You can reach out to myself. I do this with my clients. You can also reach out to me if you would like some recommendations in your home country, if you want to do it in person. But you can also do it over the phone. Basically, just find someone who you really trust. And if you'd actually prefer to do it on your own, then that is also totally okay. Just feel into what you need. So the process is called aspecting. It's actually a really quite common practice in, I guess, the psychology world, especially the more embodied psychology. So you get two pillows, two cushions, and you sit them opposite each other. And so the pillow that you're sitting on is you, and then the pillow that is in front of you that you're looking at is your soul sparkle. And now what I want you to do is to really tune into you in this pillow. And so again, if you're doing this in hindsight, so you can tune back into who you were, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, or 3 months ago when you were going through that process. You can go back and drop into your body as to who you were then. Do that by taking in really big, deep breaths and going into that meditative space. Clearing your thoughts, which is the easiest thing to say, but the hardest thing to do. When I say clear your thoughts, they'll never go away. But when one comes up, just grab it with your hands, not physically, but just imagine yourself grabbing it and then putting it out into the air, and it just floats away. So you don't need to run away with your thoughts, but you can just take them and put them away. So that process helps to get you into your body, which is where all the wisdom is, and which is where you need to be for this practice to be effective. Because if you're in your mind's going to be saying things like, this is crazy, this is stupid. It'll also be giving you really heady responses, when actually what your body is telling you, what your body wants to say, is completely different. So once you've dropped into your body, I want you to talk to your soul sparkle. What is it that you want to say? Is there something about grief? Is there actually, is there an apology? Is there an explanation around like why it wasn't the right time? Or is there a celebration? Is it a thank you? Or is it an asking? What message do you have for me? Why did you come here? Just get really curious, because it's completely different and completely unique for every single person. And once you've actually given yourself all of the time and space that you need to say what is coming up for you like deep in your womb space, okay? I really want you to stay super present in your body. As soon as you notice yourself getting heady, go straight back down. And once you feel complete, you swap pillows, and then you go and be soul sparkle, and you talk back to yourself. So you literally imagine dropping into the consciousness of your soul sparkle and talk back to yourself. What does soul sparkle have to say to that? And you continue this process of going back and forth until you feel complete. So if you haven't done it before, that might sound completely fucking bonkers, and I get it. If you want help with it, reach out, because it's definitely not something that you see or hear about every single day. But I'm pretty sure that you can imagine how powerful something like that could really be. Now, you don't have to do it with Soul Sparkle. You can also do it with your partner or the father at the time, with your family, or a certain figure in your life who is, perhaps really trying to influence your decision, or was really influential over your decision. Or, you can do that at any time in your life. It doesn't even have to be when you're dealing with a termination. But it's just give it a go, see how you go, and let me know. And if you need support, I am totally here for you. It's called aspecting, and it is a freaking full power, amazing, groundbreaking practice if you actually allow yourself to properly drop in and not let your mind, your ego, run away with all of the heady, this is weird, this is dumb stuff. Just let that shit go. This work is fucking powerful. Stop judging yourself. Okay, so the next point I want to bring to you is get support. Get all of the support. Tell people. Surround yourself with so much love. We don't have to be secretive about this. There is no shame about it. Obviously, you don't have to tell everyone. You don't need to put it on your Facebook. It actually, people need to earn your trust to, be lucky enough to share this sacred and intimate process. So not everyone actually gets the privilege to know that you're going through this. So make sure that the people who you do share it with are people who you know are going to love and support you no matter what, and people who you can deeply, deeply trust to have your back. People who you really, really trust to give you the love and support that you're needing. And tell them all of those people, share it with them, because if those are the people who are really, really right for you, then they are gonna show up for you no matter what you do. Okay? Make sure that you get lots of support, on the day as well. Don't just go home for a couple of hours and then go to work. Clear your schedule, make as much space as you need, and get as much support around you. Have a potluck, make a ritual, create some kind of ceremony, a sharing circle with your girlfriends, or, perhaps you want to cook a yummy meal together and play cards and play board games and just celebrate life and, everything about it. Make sure that you are just surrounded by all of the love and support that you can get together, because you're going to need it. There's no need to put ourselves in a quiet little corner and, be thinking negatively on ourselves, or to just bounce back straight away. I hear that so much with my clients. They don't actually take any time to acknowledge what their bodies, what their physical bodies, what their emotional bodies, and what their spiritual bodies have just been through, and they just bounce back into life. But energetically and emotionally and physically, there is still so much residue stuck in them, and they're still dealing with it years later, but they actually don't know, because it's just been bottled up in some kind of like physical or emotional ailment, and it's coming up in other ways. And this is why it's so important to deal with it properly. So get the support that you need and create the space that you need to recover properly. Another good point is to get really curious. Ask yourself, what is the lesson in this? So one of the lessons might be practicing safe sex. That could be a lesson. Or, maybe changing your method of contraception. That could also be a really good lesson to get out of this. But there's other things too. So you can ask Soul Sparkle when you're aspecting. You can, just get really curious, go into meditations, journal so much about why, what does this mean? What is the message in this? What am I needing to learn right now? Because these experiences don't just happen for no reason. They're meaningful, and we can really get so much growth and so much expansion out of them if we just take the time to get curious and ask the right questions. So, honor yourself, give yourself the gift to actually do that. It's like winning lotto and then not actually picking up the cash at the end. It's like if you've gone through this whole thing, okay, I know it's not like winning lotto, but you get the point. I mean, if you're not actually getting the wisdom and the gold out of it, then it can make the experience less, I don't know, it's just you're not getting the juice out of it. So get curious, ask yourself what's there, and just be open to whatever it is. It doesn't mean that you need to action anything or do anything or go on this huge soul searching journey if it doesn't feel right for you, but just get curious and ask the questions. So the next point is be present, be gentle, and be kind. Please be present, be super gentle, and be so damn kind to yourself. Going through a physical experience like this, having a termination, no matter which procedure you've decided to go with, is not easy. And it can be deeply, deeply painful for some people. So be present, as in don't avoid it. Don't run away from it. Don't, run out of the hospital and then go straight to work and just push it under the rug. Be really present with what's going on. Because again, if you're avoiding it, if you're distracting yourself, if you're just trying constantly to, bypass it, it's going to come back and bite you in the ass, and it's going to come back hard. So be present, be brave and be present, be gentle, go slow with yourself, and be so, so kind to yourself. Treat yourself like you would treat a young child. Give yourself so much fucking love. Hold yourself. Actually say the nicest things to yourself in your mind. Have a written list of loving, gentle affirmations in your hand, in your journal. I am brave, I am strong, I am doing the right thing. I love myself, I'm here for you, I've got you, we're going to get through this. This is all a part of the process, all of that kind of stuff. Just like write a whole list, pages of it, and then just make sure that you are saying those things to yourself throughout the whole process. So when it comes to aftercare, and I really want to stress aftercare, it's like I've said it a couple of times already. It's like, don't just like rush off back into life and expect everything to just be fine. I mean, like, I'm not saying you can't bounce back quickly, but make sure that you are not bypassing, and make sure that you're actually processing what you need to process. You don't have to lock yourself in a cave for months like crying, but unless you want to, of course. I'm fine with that, but just like actually be really real with what you've just gone through. Not only just physically, it's a big deal on your body, but emotionally and spiritually as well. Give yourself the space that you need. If you need to take time off work, take it. If you need to cancel some plans, cancel them. Actually give yourself heaps of space to go through what you need to go through. Another point to mention is in New Zealand, they offer to patients to actually take the embryo home with them, which is a really beautiful option if you feel like that's something that you are called to. Because what that means is you can have a letting go ceremony, like a physical kind of letting go ceremony. And depending on your culture, that will look and shape up in a certain way. But even if it's not in your culture to do that, it's still a really beautiful thing to do. And if you feel a little bit squirmish about actually getting the physical embryo brought home with you, then you can still do it energetically as well. I brought mine home with me, and I had it with me until I was ready to do the ceremony and to let it go. And so that kind of brings me into the last couple of points, and that is take as much time as you need to grieve. There's no right or wrong. There's no time frame that says how long this should or shouldn't be going on for, and there's actually like no specific time frame as to when you should do your like letting go ceremony or anything like that. Just make sure that you are just tuning into yourself, because you will know when it's time to let go fully. You will know in your heart and in your body and in your soul. It's like, okay, I've grieved, I've journaled, I've laughed, I've cried, I've done the things, I've thought about it, I've felt it with every cell in my body, and now I know deep in my heart that it's time to move on. It's time to get on with my life. And now, like I said, it doesn't need to be a black and white process. I mean, you can go back to work, you can go back to your life and still have this kind of, I guess, significant letting go ceremony pending when you do feel ready for it. But it is a beautiful part, I believe, of the let it go process, is to actually have a beautiful ceremony. And again, when I say ceremony, you can make that whatever you want it to be. So again, like certain cultures will have a template for that already, and if that resonates for you, then honor that. But for other cultures, they're not used to doing anything like this. Like, what the fuck? Like a ceremony? Come on. I get that. But you can make it whatever you want. Tune into yourself. Like, what kind of elements do you resonate with? For me, I'm a water sign. And so when I'm cutting cords or letting things go, or like, I'm not a fire sign. I don't burn things. I'm not an earth sign. I don't bury things. I let them go into the water. No, I didn't let my embryo go in the water, if you're wondering about that. But, I do something by the water, and that's meaningful to me. So just like there are other ways that you can make a letting go ceremony intentional and meaningful in a way that is actually truthful and relevant to you. get your friends to come and, you can make it really playful as fun and fun. There can be music. You can light a little fire. You can do anything to make it into an actual ceremony for you. You can reflect on the process. You can talk about it. That can be so healing. Talk about what you went through. Talk about the lessons and the downloads that you got from the experience. Share it with your friends and family in this context so that you can really be held and supported by them. And then in a way that feels right for you, that's kosher and all that kind of stuff, you can find a way to to let it go. And yeah, I think the thing with letting go is you never really forget or get over things. It's never really exactly finished, but you've made a sort of conscious decision. You've sort of put your stake in the ground to say that this is the pivotal point where things change, and energetically I've processed everything, and it's no longer going to be in my aura, in my body, in my energetic body, or any of that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's really beautiful to treat the whole process with so much just love and curiosity and intentionality, and just don't pass over it like nothing is happening. I hope that was helpful. It's such a tender topic. When I was writing these guidelines earlier today, I definitely shed a few tears. And, if there's anything that I can say right now is that I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I made those decisions that I made because I wasn't ready. And now I am ready. And even if it doesn't happen for years to come, that's not the point for me. It's just, it's such a beautiful time for me to look back and go, wow, I went through that, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful for how I handled it. I'm grateful for myself. I'm grateful for my body. I'm grateful for the resources that I have around me. I'm grateful for the support that I've got, and just everything, so that I could get to this point where I am actually really starting to open my heart and my body and my soul to a new and exciting chapter, and again, a really loving, intentional and conscious way, because it's what's right for me now. Thank you for listening, and I'll be back with another episode soon. If you enjoyed this episode, hit like and subscribe, or share it with someone who you feel could benefit from hearing it too. My mission is to bring healthy sexuality to the mainstream, so be sure to leave your 5-star review on your favorite podcasting app, because that way this content can land in the ears of those who need it the most. If you're looking for more resources on how to live a turned-on life, check out my website at www.laura-allen.com, where you'll find events, coursework, free downloadable workbooks, as well as my coaching packages. And lastly, I want to thank you for taking the time to prioritize yourself in this exquisite way, because when we do, that's when we can really start to show up for the rest of the world. And until next time, thank you so much for listening, and I'll be back with another episode soon.